Hello friends, today I will be helping you with 5 important points in PGBP. So let's start with the very first point. While solving your PGBP sums or even your total sums which has PGBP income, what happens is on the P&L account credit side, many a times they give you incomes which are of other heads, like say for example salary or house property or capital gain or other sources. Now I have taken an example of income from other sources, that is winnings net income 70,000. Now what happens is when we are solving our PGBP sums, this income which belongs to income from other sources is not allowed, and income from other sources it is taxable, correct? Now we all know that net income has to be converted into gross, but the area where students generally make mistake is this net income has to be converted into gross, but when you are solving your PGBP sums, you start your sum with net profit, correct? Now net profit in this example is 10,70,000. Now this winnings which has to be converted into gross, but while solving your PGBP sums, you will still give only the net effect as far as your net profit is concerned. Friends, you have to convert the net into gross, but in respective statement. Winnings belongs to income from other sources. So you are not supposed to convert the net income into gross when you are calculating your PGBP statement. While calculating PGBP, we start with net profit as per P&L account, and then there is one adjustment which we make, that is of non-business incomes, or you can also say incomes which are considered separately under other heads. While solving this adjustment, when we consider winnings, over here we cannot convert the net into gross. This is a very big mistake which I have seen students committing whenever I am checking their answer sheets. Because friends, the winnings in this example, the effect which is given on the credit side is only of the net effect. So if only net effect is given on the credit side, then in your PGBP statement you are not supposed to convert the net into gross. If the P&L account statement net income is given, then even in PGBP you have to consider net income. And if in the P&L account gross winnings was given, then even in PGBP I would have considered the gross income, because in PGBP I give effect to what is the amount which is involved in the profit. Now my net profit, which is 10,70,000 in this example, includes the net amount of winnings. So I have to do an adjustment in winnings as incomes considered separately as a net income and not gross income. So yes, net has to be converted to gross, but in the respective statement to which it belongs. Now winnings belong to income from other sources. So say for example, total income is also asked in the examination. So yes, you will convert the winnings into gross, but not while solving your PGBP statement, not while excluding the income from your PGBP statement, but while calculating your income from other sources. So I will conclude by saying that if the net amount is given in the P&L side, then in the PGBP statement also while excluding you will take net amount. And if the gross winnings was given in the P&L credit side, then while excluding from the PGBP statement you will also consider the gross amount. So this was my first important point. Now the second point, friends, is about presumptive taxation. Very simple. I have considered an example of 44 AD. Where sale of goods was 60 lakh, you are supposed to calculate tax payable if the assessee opts for presumptive taxation under 44 AD and all the amounts are received by account pay check. If all the amounts are received by account pay check, it means you are supposed to take 8% or 6%. Obviously, you are supposed to take 6%. So what you are supposed to do is 6% of 60 lakh will be the 3,60,000 will be your answer, correct? But friends, if you calculate your tax as 3,60,000, this would be absolutely wrong. Why, sir? 6% is correct, na? Because all the amounts was received by account paycheck. Then why is it wrong, sir? Because this 6% is not your tax amount, friends. This 6% is your PGBP amount. Very carefully you have to see what is the question expecting us from. Question is expecting from us that we will calculate the tax payable. So if we are supposed to calculate the tax payable is not 3,60,000. This 3,60,000 is our PGBP. And after we calculate our PGBP, on this amount, we are supposed to calculate our taxes. So I have seen several students committing this silly mistake in examination, that they are not reading the question very properly, and as soon as they see 44 AD, they jump into the conclusion and write 6% and 8%, and obviously in MCQs they will purposely give such options also in which you get confused. So 6% is correct. I am not denying that 6% is wrong. 6% is correct, but that 6% is not your tax amount. That 6% is your PGBP. So please take care about this as whenever you solve your presumptive taxation sums. Then the third adjustment is about expenses which are given on your P&L account debit side. Now many a times they give certain expenses like salary paid to wife, interest paid to brother, or commission paid to sister, etc., etc. Now students, whenever they give a particular expense which was paid to wife, brother, sister, or any relative, then many a times I have seen students jumping into a conclusion that is, these expenses are personal and therefore they are not allowed. But students, that is not correct. Because students, whenever certain expenses are paid to relatives, even those expenses can be treated as business expenses. It is not necessary that salary, interest, bonus, commission, if it is paid to relatives, then it is not a business expense. Not necessary. It can still be a business expense. The only thing is that we have to check whether the provisions of section 48(2) are satisfied or not. Now this provision says that if payment is made to relatives and if the amount is reasonable in nature, then this expense is allowed. So students many a times do not concentrate on the entire adjustment. They only catch few words which are given in the adjustment and make conclusions accordingly, which will be wrong. Because even payment made to relatives can still be treated as business expense if they are reasonable in nature. If nothing is given in the question whether they are reasonable or whether they are excess, then we take a positive assumption that it is reasonable in nature, and that is why they are allowed as business expense. So don't jump into conclusions only because certain expenses have been made to relatives or certain payments have been made to relatives. Now the fourth point is relating to cash payments. Again, on the P&L account debit side, they might give you a certain particular expense in which they might say municipal tax paid was 1 lakh. Entire amount was paid in cash to the same person on the same date. Now friends, amount was paid in cash to the same person on the same date. The cash payment was exceeding 10,000. So this would be not allowed, correct? But municipal tax, friends, is paid to government, and any payment made to government is given in rule 6DD, friends. This payment, even if it is made in cash, this has to be allowed. Because friends, you cannot only concentrate on the word cash which is given in the adjustment, you have to see the entire adjustment. As per rule 6DD, which is an exception to cash payments in which you can make cash payments exceeding 10,000 in few cases, there is one point which says payment made to government. So friends, if payment is made to government and the amount is exceeding 10,000, then it is allowed. Now, obviously, they will not very clearly give that municipal tax was paid to the government. Obviously, they will not specify like that. But once they have said that municipal taxes, it is obvious that in India, municipal taxes are paid to government only, which are paid to local authority. So, if they are paid to government, then by applying Rule 6DD, this expense, even though it is paid in cash, it has to be allowed. Now, students might also get confused that, sir, municipal taxes is allowed in income from house property, then how can you take municipal tax in PGBP? No, friends. I agree that municipal tax is also an adjustment which is there in income from house property, but we will definitely assume that this municipal tax was in respect of office premises, business premises, because as per section 30, rent, repairs, taxes and insurance of building are allowed as deduction. So again, if municipal tax is given and if nothing is given in the question, you can definitely take a positive assumption that this municipal tax was in respect of business property, and that is why it is allowed. My last point which I am taking today is again about P&L account debit side expenses, because friends, in PGBP sums, majority time the concentration is more on expenses. Obviously incomes are also there in the question, but many adjustment I have seen that institute always ask in the examination is about expenses, and the expense list is always a bigger one than the income one. Now on the P&L debit side, certain expenses are given like gifts, party or prize. Now friends, party given to staff. Now party is not always necessarily personal in nature. If it is given to staff, it can be a business expense also, and therefore it would be allowed. If gift is given to customers and clients, this is a business expense, this also has to allowed. Prize given to article for clearing CA inter exams in first attempt, even this is business expense, this is allowed because article is a part of your staff. So I have seen students disallowing such expenses only because of the words like party or gifts or prize, but it is not necessarily, because all these are done for your business purposes. All these are done which are related to your business, like customers, clients, staff, articles. These are your business people. So obviously if you have done some expenses for them, they has to be allowed. So these were the 5 points which I wanted to discuss you, which you have to take care while solving your PGBP sums in your examination. If I find more few adjustment, I will definitely also bring a video on more points on PGBP. Thank you very much.